As a performer, your body is there.
Hi, I'm Mad Kate, and you're listening to S.W.E.A.T. Sexuality, work, extraction, art, theatrics. S.W.E.A.T is a series of conversations about performance and performativity of the sexual and sexualized body at work, where work is broadly defined as the labor of survival, the labor of care, creativity, and capital A, art. How exactly do we define our work? And how does that work entangle and circumscribe our sexual identities, our creative lives, and the ways in which we provide care? How do we perform tasks, acts of care, and identities? Anchored in our always already racialized and sexualized bodies, our complex intersectionalities, these conversations are a means of relating through work to each other. I hope they contribute to dialogues which normalize sex work, and all work as deserving of respect, healthy conditions, and a living wage.
When you are in a movement, it's not about the leader or the people who are thinking how this have to be in the future. It's about how people communicate with each other and get consensus.
This month's conversation is with activist, writer, and engineer Ahmad Badawy. I met Ahmad at the protest encampment in front of the German parliament in December 2024, where we were both calling attention to Germany's complicity in the ongoing genocide in Gaza. We recorded this episode on the eve of the Unkurzbar demonstration against budget cuts to the culture sector, and before we experienced another incident of pro-Palestinian activists being separated from the rest of the march. It's a moment that speaks volumes about the urgency of solidarity.
For normal German people who are not with Palestine, we want at least to make them feel that we are part of the society and we are not racist, we are not something that is foreign from the German society. We are affected by what they are going to face. We are facing that with them. We are part of the society.
Originally from Egypt, Ahmed was deeply involved in the revolution and in grassroots labor organizing, for which he was imprisoned for 4 years without trial. In prison, he went on hunger strike to protest his conditions. Ahmed has published widely on politics and resistance and is a contributor to We Were There, liberal young voices from the Egyptian revolution.
You started to tell me in the other room that you never thought that you would be an asylum seeker. Do you want to tell me about that?
Because I didn't want to leave my country, my family. I have a family in Egypt, so my father, my mother, my sister, my brother, my wife, my kids, and all my friends, of course. So leaving Egypt, especially as a refugee, means that you cannot go back to them until you surrender and come back and see what will happen, or you stay until the regime falls. So this, for me, is something very unacceptable, unimaginable. My home is in there. Now, like, after what happened in prison and that stuff, I feel no more safe in Egypt. So that's why I have to come to Germany, because I wanted to feel like I am in a place where I am protected. In Egypt, I have no rights at all. Like when I was in prison for 4 years with no trial, it was just continuous torture. Physically, without beating you, they can torture you all the day long without touching you. Very, very bad food, very, very disgusting living condition. I was living with living creatures in the place I was like held in. The rats, stuff, they were all living with me. Like, so I was just in a closed room and months without electricity. I was just living in the dark. Woke up with a light. And that's my day. I was without trial. I didn't go to judge to judge what I did. And I don't want my kids to grow in this community, this society, and face the same thing. I thought I can, if I do all my best in the beginning, in the revolution, that will change everything, that my kids and grandchildren live in a good society. But I failed miserably. I couldn't, I was just one of many who failed to deliver in this revolution. So, okay, I cannot continue this life with my children in this society. I have to leave. I have to find a place where I feel home. Egypt is not my home anymore, unfortunately.
This is such a strong word to say that you failed. And from my perspective, I certainly don't feel that way, but I can understand what you mean when you say that. And also how painful that must feel. What were some of the things that you were working towards before you were in prison?
So in this time, we are starting to have like a collection called شباب من أجل التغيير, Youth for Change. This was the trend in this, like, doctors for change, youth for change, workers for change. This was like slogan for everybody, like, we want to change, we want a new regime. We didn't want Mubarak to continue. And this also was under the slogan, enough. I attended a lot of activity, a lot of meetings, a lot of activities, demos, stuff. And I was like representing my party, my El-Ghad party. In 2008, I was just in my new job. I was as a design engineer. And we had a strike, very big strike we were calling for. And in this time, we were using Facebook for the first time to create this movement. And it was very beautiful because at this time, governments didn't have any caution against Facebook. It's just some things for they play, they speak, but it doesn't matter.
They weren't afraid yet of
Exactly.
Facebook and what it could do, huh?
And like I had a group on Facebook called "We Don't Want Gamal Mubarak," was the son of Mubarak, because we are against his succession of Hosni Mubarak. This group was like 13,000 person, and in this time that was the biggest one. But then not me, some of my friends make a group for the strike. I was one of the few that we said, no, we don't want to stay at home. And then we said, no, we want to stay in the street. We want to see it. And they arrested many of us. I was arrested. I put in jail for also 1 month.
Okay, this was the first time you were put in jail.
Exactly.
I'm so curious how this felt at the time in your body and on a physical level. I know that sometimes when you stand up to power, when you're an activist, you feel adrenaline, you feel excitement, but also there's fear. And I'm curious how it felt for you, especially, was this the first time you ever were arrested?
Yes. It was the first time, but I had a very long experience with police people. Because my mother she's retired now, was working in the Interior Ministry, in the police academy. So I used to be in the police academy since I was a young kid, and I love them. I attend their shows. So I feel I'm not afraid of them because I was part of this community somehow. I'm not afraid from these guys. I may be afraid we got punched or something, like, physically, but sometimes I see them as humans and I know their power is very limited. That's why they are very violent, because they are afraid, because they are in the wrong side, or they don't know anything. Most of police persons don't know what's going on. They just follow orders. They just working for living. Not for them. It's not a struggle or anything.
Wow. What did it take for you to come from a place where you feel like the police are somehow your family to actually rebelling against them?
It didn't happen. Like, all the time I don't see people as the target or the enemy. They are just part of the system. I am attacking the system, not the police people. They are just people. For me, like, they are just people. Until they shoot me like this or hate me or something, like this is... But I'm generalizing for all the police people, no, I just see them as people. And sometimes I see there a lot of them are courage. A lot of them are sympathetic. I was in the second maximum security prison in Egypt, and we have the toughest and like the worst police people in the force. Like, we had this police officer who was the head of the state security, who was very known for his cruelty, and he's a very bad person. So in this time, one of the time I make the hunger strike. I said I'm not going to take food or stuff. And before I announced my hunger strike, they knew, because I was telling my family, and they attacked my room. They come to so they sent me to other building who is much tougher. When I went there was one of the police sub officers, like in the army, like the sergeant in the army or something. This guy, like, he was like in charge of the building in this night, and he was just holding me very toughly, and he told me in my head, "Don't worry, I'm with you. Don't worry, Ahmed, because we're your friends." Actually.
Wow. So when he spoke this to you, you trusted him?
Of course, yeah. I felt him. Like, he was holding me like, "Don't worry, I'm with you," and he was like supporting me, not and they look for them, of course, like holding me like this.
Wow.
But he was, "Don't worry." So
somehow in my brain, I know this exists, that there's people who are on the inside who also want to bring about political change, but can't exactly do it from their position.
It's not about political change. No, I don't think they think politically. For most of people, this is like just humane, being human. Like this guy who is supposed to be representing the system, who has to be violent and very cruel. He has some humanity in himself or herself. That's in everybody. So sometimes he needs to get this, like, because this guy has a very certain story. His son was ill with some very bad illness, so he wanted to be good with the people. I asked him for it, like, you are treating us, most of us, not just me, very well. Why? He told me, because I have my children, my child is like in this case, and I want to make God heal him with when I do something good for the people. So he doesn't think about it politically. Just I am a human. I need to be human with people, even in this position.
It's hard for me to wrap my head around, because I guess maybe because I come from the idea that it's not a very human choice to go into police.
You are so about choice. No, we know that a lot of stuff is not about choice. You are just forced to be in this position. For the Egyptian people, this is much common. Like, you are forced to be in each position in the society. You cannot just be what you want. No, this is not allowed.
Yeah, this is what brings these multiple layers to why we are all participating in these really violent systems, and not, I think, why we're not able to actually break them. Because if we target one person, as you say, it's just a person.
Exactly.
It's not going to break the whole thing.
Yeah, we need to challenge the system. Like, if in such a country, in Germany, we have to challenge it somehow emotionally. Like, I feel this is the only way to get people together, to be in some emotion. Like, what's making people are moving for Palestine is not just politics. It's not about it's about liberation, of course, but like inside of people, what makes them feel it and try to do something and try to be hard on themselves for a cause, for people they don't see or like have a direct connection with. Like, I'm trying to be part of something that is a community with a soul, and not just about politics and companies and states. This is part of it, but the main thing, that's the very basic thing inside us of all, that we feel passion for humanity. So we feel that when these crimes happen, we need to move. Not everybody feels so, but that's why a lot of people don't have this empathy with this cause exactly. But that's why we need to be more emotional with it, because we need to get people emotions with it. It's not about just calculation of politics. It's something we have to all agree on. We have to all agree that we don't need any more genocides in history. No more. This should be like common sense at everybody.
How do you feel we might be able to bring more emotion to the movement?
Now this my question is get to me. Yeah, that's very hard. We have this experiment. Like, for me, it is an experiment because I didn't live this before. Like this, living with a community of people who are not from the same place or not from the same background, but they are like living together, working together for this cause, exactly for the Palestinian cause, because this is the most. But for against fascism, against capitalism and stuff. So people come together, staying together, showing this unity. This, I think, will be like, with time, it can be like a magnet.
I wonder if you want to speak a bit about how you feel as a man coming here as a Muslim. Mm-hmm. I don't know what your relationship is actually to your faith now, and if it's shifted, and as you were treated as a migrant coming here.
It shifted in prison, actually. Before prison, for a long time, I would consider myself non-religious, I'm not with any religion. But I was like raised as a Muslim in the school. I was in a school that actually run by Muslim Brotherhood in my school. But in prison, I find faith again. I find this very strong connection with God. Like, I had nothing to do all the time to pray. And when you pray and you find that your prayers are being accepted or being like give you something really, so you feel like you believe more and you want more. You want to be in connection more. So in prison, I memorized half of the Quran. Now maybe I forget what I memorized because I don't read it that much. But still, I have this connection. I believe in God exists. I believe God listens, see. God is with us all the time. So this is as a Muslim. As a man, I had this fantasy about Germany or Europe was a place you can be more open and you have a lot of connection with people more. But to be a man here is very Arab man. This is something different when you find yourself before I came to Germany. I never had this experience of being the minority, being the brown man. In my Egypt, everybody is brown, and I'm not a very wealthy family, but I am upper middle class, so I live good. I have a lot of rights. I go to college a lot. So compared to 99% of the or maybe 90% of Egyptian, I'm the class that is really living fairly good, well, not bad. Here, I found myself suddenly without any. You say money because I don't earn that much. I don't earn any money. In Germany now, I'm just studying. I'm learning Deutsch, but I don't work, so I have no income besides the income that the government give to asylum seekers. So few money.
When you came here, you became involved in the Besetzung gegen Besatzung protest camp in front of the Bundestag. That happened twice now. And so you became involved in December, and you were camping there most nights, actually.
Three or four times.
Okay.
I got this idea that I need to participate in all the activities so I can know many of people. I had a friend who is a trader, little stuff, Egyptian stuff. So he told me I go to every flow market, so my people know my stuff and people know me. And I thought, okay, this is his market, but my market is politics. So
Beautiful, I love that.
Yeah. And one day saw a video, I think it was Yara, talking about the camp, and we are camping, and I said, okay, these guys are cool. Let's stand against Bundestag. This is a very good idea. I just go visit them, see what they are doing, what they are up to. And I felt, okay, this is a community. This is the idea that the community is gathering and being based on mutual respect, mutual trust, mutual help. And this is the idea. This is the solution for this fragmented system, which everybody is just living alone.
What did you notice about the movement, actually? The difficulty of bringing people outside into, and also the difficulty inside the movement to bring together just difference between Arab-speaking community maybe and white global north students, or how you perceive it. I don't want to say.
Actually, it's a very wide question about how my notes about the movement. But I can say we have a very good chance to be visible, to be heard in this society, especially in the future.
Who's we?
The people who are trying to defend the basic human stuff, this, as we the coming demo. This is part of it.
Yes, tomorrow's demo is Unkurzbar, and it's about all of the budget cuts, austerity measures.
And this demo is because we are trying to be part of the movement. For normal German people who are not with Palestine, but we want at least to make them feel that we are part of the society and we are not racist. We are not something that is foreign from the German society. We are affected by what they are going to face. We are facing that with them. We are part of the society. So this is very important. This is making this feeling of, okay, this is easy to be seeing somebody with a kufiya. This is in a demo and nobody kicking them out. Because this for me was very wow. I didn't think I would see this or hear about this in a modern society, people all know all the infos, but
you mean that at a demo against AfD, for example, that you have a lot of Germans that are there against AfD, but if there's a Palestina block with people wearing keffiyeh, they get thrown out of the demo or targeted, or this is what you mean?
Yeah, this is what I wouldn't think. It's not reasonable for me. There's not logic for me. So again, for the movement again, one of the good things that we are in Berlin, and like we have people from different all backgrounds, and at the same time, so we can make this comradeship or like being together on just basic human understanding for each other. Like we all have to have some common sense between us. Some things that okay, how do we deal with this problems? Because if we don't have this, we don't have a community. It's not about making things done. It's not about creating a place where we stand and perform and no, it's not about this. It's about creating a connection between people and like how they be heard. When you are in a movement, it's not about the leader or the people who are thinking how this have to be in the future. It's about how people communicate with each other and get consensus. But I mean, something is we all agree on. We as a society, and maybe as a movement, and then we ask the society to also come to our ground and be with us in this. In the movement, the problem I see is that we have this intention, but in the same time, we all have our own things from the past, things from the like cultural differences, as my friend Antonis said once. These cultural differences shouldn't be make us apart. It should be more like giving us opportunity to create something that's universal. We have some universal ethics for us, understanding. In Germany, this is very hard, even in the movement, because everybody has this individualism. This is part of the very advanced society, very rich society. So everybody is like for himself or herself or themselves. So everybody is like, I am this, I want this, this is like. But when you are in a real society or in any community, it's not about being oppressed or like that's what at my previous ideas, that being in a social society or social community, that means you are being oppressed for the people, for the other people. Like they oppress you to be part of the system. This is how I saw communism or socialism in the world. But when I lived in Germany, the first day I came here, I was in like a community house. What's it called? Like
VG?
No, not that, but like it's a whole house is like being owned by the people who rent it. So I like it very much. Like this is a small society, but people are very connected. People are they are living their own small country or something. You can say like this. Yes. So if you can make this connection, like this small society to the bigger society, this will make very, very good changes, I can say.
What do you feel are some of the things that maybe the movement can agree on?
Starting for basic things that like what is our human rights? What are like as a part of the group or a part of the human race or part of the humans? What are we should have? What we not as a person. I mean, as a collective. How can we? I had some unfortunate experience with like conflict, and that was not dealt with. Like just put it aside, and then we go on with our stuff. No, this is not right. Like you should solve the problem. You should try to bring people together. People have to have conversation together. It's happening, but still I feel it's still in the first stages. It will evolve. I think it will evolve. We need to evolve our conversation, especially because we are going into very hard times. All the world is going very dark times. We're going to see a very new system order that is very scary.
So are you referring, when you say to conflict, like are you referring to within the movement to just resolving daily conflicts that might come up? Is this what you mean, that we need to develop new systems for resolving conflict at a micro level? Yeah, and also
before the conflict happened, we need to have this. Like we have this problem as we speak about. There is a difference between the Arabic community and the upper Western community, because Arabs don't have this problem with the South European. Yeah, we don't have this problem with Greeks or with Italians, but mostly this is also the problem between more white countries. I wanna first of all combined activities, like we like practically for me, making every movement or every statement available for and open for Arab community and vice versa. So I would suggest that every sign be all languages.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes, this is a big part.
I think, and also I think this needs a lot of reason to happen. It's not just because we want it to happen, it will happen. I'm not sure if this sentence like apply here, but we have to have these common goals so we can do it. So if you do, like, what is our common goal for the movement? What is our common goal? Stop now, like further stop the genocide. So we have a reason to be together. But after genocide, afterwards, we need to have something like getting us together to work on something collectively. Some problems I see, but I don't have a solution for it. It's not only about the cut between Arabs and the Western. No, it's like even the different groups, different blocks. For the coming period, because of this government here is going to be very conservative and going to be very against the refugees and stuff. I think this can bring us together again to fight against this. Also, the austerity and getting money out of everything. This will mean that we have to work together to get this time, because this is going to be a very big time, for tens of years to come. And they want this money to put it in arms and weapons. So just for nothing, just for making them rich. The people who make the gun and people they are going richer and richer because we have to stop all the wars. And I think we can do it in the future. Like one country, for the whole planet, every person on the planet have the same rights, have the same privileges. Not maybe not materially, because it will different from place to place, but at least have some basic for everybody. You cannot be living in anywhere without having this certain basic rights and basic privilege. Everybody have learning, sport, like food and stuff that's here in Germany is that people don't find it scarce or something. They have it all. But in other countries, they have nothing of it. That's why you have a very big immigration, because you have everything and we have nothing. You cannot just say, okay, this is illegal immigrants. No, this difference between living conditions between different countries, this should be for my country, Egypt. It's very corrupt that maybe 90% of the leisure of the economy is owned by certain people, 90%, and a lot of the agriculture, a lot of tourism, the canalways, the petrol, all of this is the state-owned. Even some companies is related to the state. So they have no chance in Egypt to people to be rich until they accept if they are part of the state. So that's why millions of people flee, because they don't have a chance to live. They are dying. I went to Kenya. And this was one of the reasons I cannot come back. It's not just because I don't want to come back, because I'm afraid to come. Because after I get out of prison in 2023, I worked for an NGO that's supporting trade unions. We had a trip to Kenya to investigate, because we had the news, a microbus had an accident and 16 young girls died in it. They were 14 years old, 13 years old. And we knew that these guys were agriculture workers. So they were going to work in a farm in a desert. They were very far away, and this accident happened, and they died, a lot of them. So we went to their village to investigate what happened. We went there, we met with the people, and they had a very, very crucial testimonies about how working conditions, transport conditions, sanitary conditions. They go far away in the desert to go in some very big farms to collect tomato and stuff, and they have no training, of course, nothing. They have no water, no food, no toilets, not anything. And sometimes this farm has a lot of snakes, a lot of dangerous things, and you work for 14 or 15 hours just for €1 per day or something like this. So they are and if they have this accident, this is not the first accident, because people in these farms use very, very old and defect cars or transportation, because it doesn't matter. They put girls and boys together, and they also said a lot of sexual harassment in this transportation. For 3 years, they are just packed together. And all of this, we were telling about, and I was just filming the whole testimony thing. And I missed some part in the beginning. I was out and they came back. So I get raged, and I wrote about it in social media, in my Twitter account, and it go viral. So in the next day, the doctor who made this report, the responsible for the worker women section, she told me you had made a mistake because these farms are belonging to the army. so, so that was very for me. But wow, now I'm very in trouble because when I came out of prison, I met one of them, one of my friends, my old friends, was part of the movement, but he's like becoming like their contact person for the state security and stuff. He told me you are free to speak unless you speak about El-Sisi, the president, or the army. These are two topics you shouldn't speak about. So if you speak about them, you are gone. And even so, if you don't speak about them, you're still in danger. So don't feel free. Don't try to be smart. Outsmart them because they know what you are doing. As they're watching you, they watch your family. So don't try to do anything. You are just coming out of prison. You have your family. You have. We will give you, of course, work and stuff. And so don't make troubles. So I knew, and this time, because I talked about the army, now I will be under more watching. Maybe I'll go to prison again. Before I came here, I was very, very opposing it. I didn't want to leave my family. I just had a newborn child. My wife and my two children, my two girls, we were out of touch for 4 years. I was seeing them once per month, maybe, or not every month. My second girl, Malika, she was born while I was in prison. My wife was pregnant when I was arrested. The first time I talked with Malika when she was 3 years old already. The same with Karma. Karma was she was 1 year when I was arrested, and I don't I didn't want to leave my family. But once I was in the airport and was leaving the airport, I was looking to the faces of the police people, and I was like, I feel this feeling safe is not there anymore. I know these are criminals. This is a country run by a mafia. This is not normal people. This is not people who are this is a mafia. They are trying to steal from everybody. So I couldn't go back to this. No. Yeah.
I'm glad that you are here and that you managed to apply for your political asylum here. What strikes me is you were telling me the person who told you what not to speak about is also, you said he was a comrade, but also inside the system somehow? Or
he was a comrade in 2000 when they had the revolution, okay, where everybody was going, it was a cool thing to be against the regime. Okay. But after 2013, after the regime came back and started killing everybody, imprisoning everybody, kicking everybody out of the country, this guy was one of the people who fled the country, and he lived for some time abroad. And they contacted him, or maybe he contacted them, telling him, come back and we'll be our friend and we'll treat you good. He was a wealthy guy, so for him it was good. He came back and started to be it wasn't the only one. I'm not talking of just person. It's a lot of our I don't want to say most because no, I wouldn't say most. No, most of my comrades, the people I was friend with, most of them are still against the regime. Many of them are in prison still, or abroad, or even in Egypt, was trying to do stuff not just against the system, but just trying to survive. But they are not with the system. This guy completely turned with others. He was defending the system, talking had this other. We have this other enemy. These guys are destroying the country, destroying the economy, taking everything out of the country, for themselves, in the name of we are fighting Muslim Brotherhood, which is Muslim Brotherhood. I lived with them in prison. They are totally destroyed. They totally have nothing. Maybe they will come back. Of course, they will come back. But now they are totally destroyed. There is no organization anymore. But this slogan, we are fighting the Muslim Brotherhood, is still being used to legalize the betrayal of the Palestinian struggle. What Sisi done was closing the borders, because part of the reason for that, we are protecting Egypt from the Muslim Brotherhood, who are Hamas. Hamas is the Muslim Brotherhood. Actually, this is partially right because Hamas is part of the Muslim Brotherhood group in Palestine. It's started by Muslim Brotherhood, so it's ideologically it is the same. Ideologically, the Muslim Brotherhood is Hamas. So Hamas is like the armed resistance of the Muslim Brotherhood, which is in Palestine, not in Egypt. So, but he or the regime say like, okay, we don't need, we close Palestinian out because we want Hamas or the Islamists or jihad. It's the same rhetoric that I hear here in the politics here with about the Islamists. What is this? Like, what are you talking about? Yeah, it's not that easy to say Islamists and everybody because I was in prison with very, very hardcore Islamists and they are all divided. There's nothing you can say like there is one community. It's different groups which are different. Maybe some basic understanding of stuff like religious stuff, but that's it. And even this has had a lot of a lot of people like against each other, a lot of schools or something. So this Islamist thing is just a myth. See, there is a people who are Islamists, but it's treating them like a very dangerous thing that's going to the country. This is not true. I see this in my eyes. Like these guys they are angry. They are maybe sometimes they are somehow organized, but they are not threat to the system. Maybe they are threat to themselves, but they are not threat to the system because the system is very powerful and they are very weak and they don't see this. But at the same time, it is like what's happening between Israel and Hamas. Israel see Hamas as like this threat, not because they're powerful weapons, but because they mean the resistance going on. The resistance is fighting back, not just being there, but just fighting back. And so that's why the regime says everybody like, okay, this is like Israel was saying, this is Hamas. The regime says this is Muslim Brotherhood. Everybody that's against the system, opposing the system, like just trying to get some pieces of the things going on. This is Muslim Brotherhood. We have to fight them. We have to cancel them. We have to even imprison them. But like this, maybe less now than before. Like in the beginning, like Sisi started his reign his era by killing 1,000 persons in the streets in one of the biggest massacres in the political history, in the modern political histories. And afterwards, everybody was like opposing this or like sympathizing with the Palestinians. This is Ikhwan. This is terror. This is terrorist. When they entered the prison the first time, they were welcoming me by hitting me and saying, "You are a terrorist. You are here. You come here. Like, you are a terrorist." And insult stuff. And I was arrested because I was holding a banner saying no to the constitutional amendments. I wasn't saying anything anything like violent or anything.
So you were arrested protesting and your sign said no to the constitutional amendments. What were the amendments?
It was just giving Sisi the whole power of judiciary, of a lot of stuff. And also giving him the expanding his period, like he should be like leaving office like that 2 years, like they gave him more like 6 years or something.
And then they took you in, and that was the time that you got taken in for 4 years.
Yeah.
And you were never given a trial.
No, they arrested me. They put me for like 8 days just with handcuffs in the wall. Forced disappearance. Nobody knew where is me or my family. The only thing that worked with me is that I was like I was writing on Twitter, saying I'm going to this place. I'm saying the day before I put the picture, I take a picture of my selfie and put it because I went twice. Yeah. So you wanna while they arrested me and they got me in the car to the police station, I was making sure that certain people are retweeting this because I said I was being arrested. And I knew that one of the most important political figures in Egypt is called Dr. Ahmad Badawy.
I mean, so
and he wrote about like he was knowing he tweeted this, and I felt okay. Now everybody knows I am arrested. They will act. They will try to do something. After 8 days of disappearance, they put me in the Gaza with the other prisoners for 2 weeks. And when I started, like I said, I will start a hunger strike to be released. They sent me to the prison, to the maximum security prison.
I have two questions. One is, this kind of goes back to how do we form a movement based on a common understanding of our goal, like our goal that brings us together. Okay, if we say, our goal right now is to end genocide, okay, that there's never genocide again. And then we come together and we say, okay, we are fighting for the rights of refugees. In fact, that there's no borders and that we don't have this system of migration that we have where people are made illegal and criminal just for moving. And we come together around this. Within that goal, does that make everything else in the way that we relate to each other okay? Or do we also have other goals of the movement, as in that, for example, that we feel good with each other? Or, I mean, I've had a lot of debates and conversations around it. Like, okay, do we need to feel like we're friends? Or is it that we can kind of be rather comrades? We're just like working on the common goal, but we don't have to agree. We don't have to.
No, I think friendship or like mutual relationship between people is very, very, very important. Like, this is not, we are not fighting for systems that is in our mind. Like, we're not fighting just abstract goals. Yeah, if someone who thinks so, okay, but like, I mean, we are humans. We need to act like humans, not like soldiers in an army. It's not about this. Or we are not just comrades who are fighting. I having a lot of friends. Everybody's like, when I feel some people have like a problem, I try to listen to each one. What is the problem? How to solve it? How can we make it come back together, or at least not feeling bad about each other when we see each other. Like, even we had like conflict, because we had conflicts all the time. I have conflicts with my family, with my wife, with my mother, with my brother, but still we can continue live together and love each other. Like, love is very important. I have to love people, have feelings like they are loved. Like, when I feel I'm just a just like a brick in the system, and this brick is not there anymore. Any brick can go in its place. So I feel like, so I'm not special. I'm just a point in the very big picture. But no, this is not true. We are universal. Everybody is a universe. It's the same as going back to the point when you say everybody here feels very individual, very individualistic, empowered. We have to be I have to have my own life, my own self, but still we can be connected. I can feel like, okay, Kate is like, we have this connection, we shake on each other, we talk to each other. It's not about the comradeship, but it helps a lot. if it's a practical point of view, this helps. Like, if you have friends, whenever somebody is like cannot do what we can support, we can take, and then make the movement very humane and very real, not just for abstract ideas because we cannot actually, in this world we are very divided, we cannot create this abstract system unless we communicate. How can we agree on something that we all want to? So we need to have a society come together, and from this gathering create the system that you want to live. And then if it's really affecting us, like people will see this, okay, this be like the camp. When you go to camp, these people are living together, they are working together, they are suffering together. If I am not convinced with the cause, what the fuck they are doing? Why they are staying in the cold? Why they are doing this? Why they are going water from Cafe and coming back? What's this crazy? You just go home. Why are you sitting here?
Yeah, why actually? Why? Why do you think?
Because we want to defend something very human. Like, Germany doesn't actually control the whole thing. Germany is just a part of it. Okay, all German Bundestag is just like, they have a lot of power, of course. But they are not controlling the whole scene, and we are not controlling them by standing in front of them. But we are feeling where we are. We are proud to be here. We are proud to say no to in the front of the tyranny, even if it's a democratic tyranny. This is somehow like when telling people you don't stay against genocide. This is tyranny. This is like great. So when we stand, we say no. There is some voice of sanity. We say no. We are the people. We are not searching for the national interest of our people, for our race. No, it's not about this. We are from different countries, from different backgrounds, and we say no to the wrong thing. We wanted to make it right, starting with the genocide. which actually started by the act of resistance, which is actually started with act of oppression and act of occupation. This whole process is how humanity is evolving. Palestine is very, very like the tip point of the fight between the whole power of capitalism, a whole cruelty of capitalism against just people. She doesn't have anything. She fight with just what they can do. Like, this is oppressed people. This is people everybody should sympathize with. Not against I'm not like I don't want to hate against Israelis. It's not about this. I'm not hate the Israeli soldier when I see like he dies or killed. Like I feel like no, I feel sorry for his mother actually, because he shouldn't be here. He shouldn't fight this war. Like what like even the Israeli society is getting crazy and getting like paranoid and everything. They are still people. I say them as people. We have to end the genocide. We have to put the people who like Netanyahu and Azerland or whoever helped this happen. We have to be held accountable in any way we can. But still, we cannot say like, okay, we just put. It's like about erasing the Israelis from Palestine or giving out. No, it's not about this. It's about justice. About if you are going to be here, it has to be just. It has to be by the people power, not by violence, not by. If you are going to have a state that is Western and modern and a lot of economic power, it has to be for the whole region. Israelis or the Jews has to be part of the whole. It has to be one country if you are going to make it better. If you're going to stop the war, the only way to stop the war in the Middle East is to make most of it like in one country. It's one like federal country. If you can do this, it's a very big step towards world peace. If Israeli people or Jewish people they know that they have this whole place is their home, and the Arabs feel that this is like their home also. Like, we are ending this war, we are ending a lot of like arms industries. This arms race, a big part of it because of this conflict. Especially this conflict creates a lot of heat.
But so, I mean, you pointed to some interesting things. We want to live together, but even when we have the same goals, we still have conflict.
Exactly.
And we still have to get through those conflicts, like with our mom, with our spouse,
yeah.
with our comrades, because we want to feel good in those movements. But how do we get those people who maybe don't agree about what are the basic human rights?
You mean from out of the group or from out of the movement, you mean?
Yeah, like, you're being held in a prison, and those who are holding you are representing a system, and maybe on their individually, maybe they even agree with you on what you feel about human rights. But those who are above them, or the system itself that's holding them, which are holding you, how do we reach them to find this common sense of what human rights?
Actually, for answering this question, I think we have all the common old phrase in the Islamic history. So, but it's been interpreted very in a different way. But it's say like what you cannot advise by Quran should be implemented by power, by a sultan, by the system. So we have to create a system. We have to create a different system. It's not just about we love each other, but from this love we have to create something that is people can say, okay, we want this to be part of. We want to be part of it. So one idea I had, but this is this crazy idea afterwards, like I thought of it, was like, okay, why don't we make like some universal country that takes like maybe say 10% from each country, 10% of the land, and this place is 10% is run by this country, which is like like its system, its parliament or its leading is from all the countries, like something like UN. And each country has to give up this land, but at the same time, this has a lot of power, like, a lot of connection with it. So if this land, and this land is open for refugees, open for everybody. This country is like without like a passport that's not related to one country, but everywhere. Like if I have this passport to this country, I am like in the US, or like I have this very powerful passport because it's a country that's existing everywhere. So it has a lot of potential from everywhere on earth. And this like starting to be the first step. And then when people see this country flourish, because it will, because people will like to be there, people will like to invest there and to make the living there. It will have a very good relationship with every country, because country is part of it. So this was just.
I like dreaming big. So in a way, what I'm understanding is it's more about creating a place that is showing by an example of the way that they're.
I think so. This is very part of it.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things that strikes me is the way in which I just watched this great movie the other day called "Why Do We Fight?" I saw it at the Palinale, and these politicians, Rumsfeld and these guys in Bush, just after 9/11, and so talking about the need to hold this world order, to be the world police. They believe that they know the best way to run the world, the values that we have to hold on to. And so then they do it through military force. Right. And that without them, without holding that power, then chaos, right? That's their belief. How do we keep somebody with like a good idea who thinks, okay, now we make the whole world have this as a universal belief, from becoming that despot, that power?
Actually, it's not about the person who lead or the person who dictates what people think. It's not. I want to be back because they thought that they are making civilization or civilized world like this. But they also failed very badly in like mostly everywhere. And now what's happening with Trump is getting back, like getting the reverse, or like we were fighting for democracy. Now we are losing our own democracy. Like we are getting a new king, like the king of show, like just a showman with like an Iron Man in his side. Yeah. So like this basic beliefs or like of democracy, of equality, of like justice is just going out of the window now in the United States. So it's the heart of the system. So cutting back, it's not about being the example, but being a community that can set the example for themselves, for ourselves, not for the other to see. This is what I mean to say.
Yeah, I see what you mean. It's not like that people are just looking into this project, but that the project itself is.
It's about how to people create this life together, because actually conflicts, as it's bad as it's like diversive, but it's also opportunities to make new way of handling things. Like before courts, before you have a system, you had a system, another system. So we can create this. Like we have a system of police, of course, of everything, the capitalist system. But we can create something like it's very more social, more, and I don't think I'm the first one to speak about it, like being, yeah. But if you can do it, something like full of love, full of life, full of connection, full of people like they care for each other and they care for the future, for all humanity, and they connected in countries, because if you want to make an internationalist movement, it needs to be in all the world. You need all to be connected together, and you cannot love everybody on the planet. It's not about it, but at least you have this feeling of belonging to some community, some community that is emerging. That's like defining themselves by have a consensus about something. Like if we can. But this idea, like, okay, we need like something like the universal income. Yeah, this would be very good if you all can agree. This is a good thing, and we all want it, and we put it in our program and our thinking how to. This is gathering us. This is making us very strong. Maybe not very effective until now, like we are speaking, but not the things we are saying is happening or what we dream is happening. But the same as, but at least we are like pointing to the direction. We want to be there. We want to be together. We want to be humane. So that's why also with the people, with the German people, even if they are like, we feel betrayed from them. They didn't stand for human rights. They didn't stand for basic decencies. But still, we are with them because when we are under injustice, we need to support them, and this affects us all. So that's why it's important to work together and find common goals.
You just heard from activist, writer, and engineer Ahmad Badawy. You can read more about him in the show notes.
I'm Mad Kate, and you've been listening to S.W.E.A.T, Sexuality, Work, Extraction, Art, Theatrics. S.W.E.A.T is a series of conversations about performance and performativity of the sexual and sexualized body in work. The theme music was composed by me and features the voice of performer and actress Lori Baldwin. S.W.E.A.T airs every second Tuesday of the month at 13 hours Central European Time on Collaboradio. Free Radio's Berlin-Brandenburg, broadcasting on 88.4 FM in Berlin, 90.7 FM in Potsdam, and streaming online at fr-bb.org. Afterwards, it's available for streaming wherever you get your podcasts. Thank you so much, and until next time.